we dive into one of the most shocking developments in Eastern Europe, Belarus descending into chaos as reports emerge of senior generals rebelling against long-time leader Alexander Lukashenko, with Russia reacting swiftly to the unfolding crisis. This situation has sent shockwaves through the region, raising questions about the stability of Lukashenko's regime after decades in power and Moscow's rapid response to protect its key ally. We'll break down the exterior aspects of this political turmoil, the interior dynamics driving the unrest, the performance of key players involved, the safety features, or lack thereof, or those caught in the middle, the unique selling points of the competing narratives, the potential price of this escalating conflict, and finally, a conclusion on what this means for the future. Starting with the exterior, the situation in Belarus appears explosive on the surface. Streets in Minsk and other major cities have seen sporadic protests erupting amid rumors of military discontent. Tanks and armored vehicles have been spotted in unusual positions around government buildings, including the Palace of the Republic and the Independence Palace, iconic symbols of Lukashenko's authority. The red and green national flag of Belarus flies alongside reports of defections, while Russian military movements near the border add to the tense atmosphere. Landscapes of snowy forests and urban avenues in Minsk are now backdrop to heightened security, with checkpoints and patrols increasing. Belarusian soldiers in their distinctive uniforms, bearing the Pahonia emblem on some units, are reportedly divided, some loyal to the president, others allegedly questioning orders. On the Russian side, the tricolor flag waves as convoys move in, signaling Moscow's immediate concern. Buildings, like the KGB headquarters in Minsk, stand as stark reminders of the regime's control, yet cracks are showing externally with leaked statements from higher ranking officers criticizing Lukashenko's close ties to the Kremlin and his handling of domestic issues. Now, delving deeper into the interior, which forms the core of this crisis and deserves a thorough examination because it's where the real fractures lie within the Belarusian state apparatus and society. Over the past months, discontent has been brewing quietly among the military elite. Senior generals, who have long been pillars of Lukashenko's power, are said to be frustrated with economic stagnation, endless dependence on Russia, and the suppression of any dissent following previous elections. The interior of military barracks and command centers has become a hotbed of whispered conversations and secret meetings. Officers who once enjoyed privileges under the regime now face salary delays, equipment shortages, and pressure to align fully with Russian interests. Deep inside the armed forces, factions have emerged, one loyal to Lukashenko personally, viewing him as the guarantor of stability, and another seeing his prolonged rule as a liability that invites external interference and internal decay. Reports suggest that key figures in the general staff have refused certain orders, citing concerns over deploying troops in ways that could escalate regional tensions. This interior rebellion isn't just about power, it's rooted in years of accumulated grievances. Soldiers and officers from rural Belarusian backgrounds, many drawn from the vast plains and forests that define the country's interior landscapes, feel disconnected from the elite in Minsk. The presidential residence, with its opulent interiors hidden from public view, symbolizes the disconnect. While Lukashenko maintains a lavish lifestyle, ordinary military personnel grapple with outdated infrastructure and morale issues. Furthermore, the interior political landscape shows a regime increasingly isolated. Opposition voices, though silenced on the surface, continue to influence from exile, feeding information that amplifies doubts among the military. Russian influence penetrates deeply here. Two interior ministries coordinate closely with Moscow, but some generals reportedly resent being treated as subordinates in joint operations. This has led to a profound interior crisis of loyalty, where the chain of command is fraying. Protests, though smaller than in past years, originate from interior discontent among civilians tired of repression, economic hardship, and the shadow of war next door. Families of soldiers worry about potential deployments, adding emotional layers to the interior turmoil. The Belarusian Orthodox Church, a key interior cultural institution, has remained mostly silent, but individual clergy have expressed private concerns. Overall, the interior dynamics reveal a system rotting from within. Corruption scandals, fear of purges, and generational shifts where younger officers question the old guard's unwavering support for Lukashenko. Russia's fast reaction stems from fearing this interior collapse could spread or weaken their western flank. Putin and Lukashenko's interiors, Kremlin halls and Minsk palaces, connect through urgent calls and meetings, underscoring how intertwined their fates are. This big interior paragraph highlights that the rebellion isn't sudden. It's the culmination of suppressed tensions in society, military, and governance, making the crisis far more dangerous than it appears externally. Moving to performance, Lukashenko's regime has historically excelled at maintaining control through a mix of repression and propaganda, but recent events show declining effectiveness. The president's public appearances, often in military gear to project strength, now seem performative amid reports of disloyalty. Russian forces have performed swiftly, deploying units to border areas and conducting drills that double as shows of support. Belarusian loyalist troops have performed crackdowns efficiently in the past, but alleged hesitance from generals hampers response times. Opposition figures in exile perform outreach effectively via social media, amplifying the narrative of rebellion. On safety features, there are alarmingly few for ordinary citizens and even military personnel involved. The regime's security apparatus, including Oman riot police, prioritizes regime protection over public safety, leading to risks of violent clashes. Protesters face arbitrary arrests and harsh treatment with no independent oversight. Russian intervention adds unpredictability, potentially escalating to broader conflict without safety protocols for civilians. Military defectors risk severe repercussions, lacking any amnesty or protection mechanisms. The unique selling points of this story lie in its geopolitical drama, a potential shift in one of Europe's last authoritarian holdouts, Russia's quick defense of its ally showcasing Union state ties, and the rare sight of military elites challenging a leader who's survived multiple crises. For Lukashenko, his USB remains portraying himself as the stabilizer against chaos. For rebels, it's promising reform and less Russian dominance. For Moscow, it's maintaining a buffer state. The price of this conflict could be steep. Human lives lost in potential fighting, economic sanctions intensifying hardship, regional instability spilling over, and a high diplomatic cost for Russia amid other pressures. Belarus risks deeper subordination or fragmentation, with civilians paying the heaviest price through uncertainty and repression. In conclusion, this alleged general's rebellion against Lukashenko, met with Russia's fast reaction, marks a pivotal moment for Belarus. Whether it leads to regime change, consolidation, or prolonged stalemate remains uncertain, but it underscores the fragility of authoritarian systems reliant on military loyalty. The world watches closely as Eastern European dynamics shift. Thanks for tuning in. Stay informed and see you in the next update.